Hey, everybody. Good evening. I'm Cindy Baker, ADHD coach, and this is Monday Night Live is what I call it. You've heard of Saturday Night Live. Well, hopefully this will be just as entertaining. No, I'm glad you're with me. We are going to dive into a topic that I think is very practical, and I think you're going to really like it. So I want some interaction. Would love to hear from you. If you are on live, if you could say hi in the chat, let me know where you're watching from. That would be great. I'm in a suburb of Memphis, Tennessee, and that's where I am tonight. But we've got beautiful spring weather out there. In fact, I'll show you a picture of something. I don't know if this will show with this fake background, but there's a really cool picture that I'm going to show you if you can see it. Can you see that? 5 bluebird eggs in my yard in the birdhouse. So that is pretty cool. So hopefully you're enjoying some spring weather where you are. So if you're jumping on live, say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you're watching the replay, a lot of people watch the replay. Just say hashtag replay or let me know that you're watching. I'm going to pull it up here on my phone so I can make sure all of the things are working right. And I can see the chat. So if you're jumping on live, say hi. I want this to be a little interactive because we're going to talk about habits, and we're going to talk about how maybe even just tiny, small changes in habits or just tiny habits in and of themselves can have a huge ripple effect. And that's pretty encouraging because a lot of times you think in order to have this big change in your life, you got to make big changes, but you really don't. If you make a tiny change every day consistently for a year, the payoff is huge, whether it's organization or your health, your weight, your finances, anything like that. Little bitty changes make a difference. And to me, that's encouraging because it's not as overwhelming. I can handle little changes, right? So, hi, Andrea. Got a 3P Power coaching member in the house. We got, who else? We got Gina, Michelle, Jenny. Hi, everybody. Say hi if you're joining live. And if you're watch the replay, say hi in the replay. But we're going to be talking about small habit changes that yield big results. So if long-term plans and goals make you feel overwhelmed, like make you feel so overwhelmed that you get frozen and you end up doing nothing, can you relate to that? Then even small tweaks in your habits can have a huge impact on your success. And so, we all know that living with ADHD can be hard sometimes, but small steps linked together eventually set you up on a path to success. And so I'm going to give you just some suggestions, but I'm hoping in the chat that you'll share some of yours as well. And so, and also if you're watching the replay, let me know what you think also. But some of these I've talked about before. And so this first one I have talked about before, and that's to practice a growth mindset. That's just a small change that you can make where instead of just feeling like you make a mistake and so that means you can't do that thing, you would change your verbiage and change your thinking to I can't do it yet. So instead of saying I can't, say I can't yet, or I'm learning to do such and such. So an ADHD example. So instead of saying I can't be on time, you would say I can't be on time yet, but I'm working on it. Do you see the difference? It's a very subtle difference. you start getting used to the idea that you will improve. It's a subtle change, but doing that one little thing, it gives you hope for the future. And with that new mindset, you're going to find that things do get easier to do. And you will start to find that improving, it gets easier, because a mindset is huge. I really used to listen to people talk about that. And I think, it's just a bunch of positive thinking mumbo jumbo, and it's really not. As I start to learn more about it, it makes a lot of sense. What you think and what you say to yourself plays out in the decisions that you make and in the activities that you engage in during the day or don't do during the day. And so when you talk about productivity or reaching your goals, mindset is huge. So practice a growth mindset. If you could just change that one little thing, that really will make a difference. Change, instead of saying, I can't do such and such, you say, I can't yet, but I'm learning or I'm working on it. Does that make sense? Tell me in the chat what you guys think about that. I want this to be interactive. I'm late by a shorter time than before, 2 minutes. Okay, well, but you're here, right, Gina? So tell me in the chat if that makes sense to you, just adding that word yet. You can't do something yet, but you're working on it. What do you guys think? Yet, but. Yeah, we got to get rid of the buts. It's just a slight change, but it means that you see yourself as someone who can improve instead of someone who's stuck. We call that a fixed mindset. So you want a growth mindset instead. Okay. So that's the first habit, the first tiny habit that you could change. What else are you guys saying? All right, y'all got to interact a little bit. Maybe you're making dinner. I don't know. So another one is, and this, again, this is going to sound weird, but tell yourself to slow down several times a day. Especially if you're on the hyperactive end of the spectrum, like me, with ADHD, I get going so fast. My brain goes so fast. My body goes fast. I'm talking too fast. I'm buzzing around the house. I'm bumping into things, So moving more slowly enhances that mindfulness that we were just talking about. And it helps you simplify routines and tasks. And so if you slow down, you can think a little more clearly. And instead of zipping back and forth throughout the house, you slow down and you think about, okay, what do I need to do while I'm in this room? What do I need to do while I'm in that room? And it just cuts down on the stress. But you have to tell yourself, slow down. Sometimes I even do my hands like this, like, okay, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. When I start to feel overwhelmed, I make myself take a deep breath. And I almost do it. I did it as a joke at first, but I really do it now. Like it helps me a lot. So growth mindset, tell yourself to slow down. Another habit, and this has really helped me a lot, is to just eliminate clutter 1 square foot at a time. A square foot's not very big. It's about like that, about as big as a foot, right? So you get rid of unwanted things as you notice them, instead of letting stuff turn into this big clutter clearing project. So if you can it's more of a maintenance thing. If you can clear 1 square foot and then not let things pile up there, it doesn't end up being this big, giant, overwhelming task, So for instance, I have a place where I put mail that comes in the mailbox. I put it a certain place, and if I don't do something with it within 1 day, it starts to pile up. And so as I notice it, I put it down. And if I can't deal with it right that second, then I try to do it within 24 hours when as I'm thinking about it, because otherwise it'll just become part of the scenery and I'll forget about it. But you deal with it as you notice it. If you see a cup in the sink, put it in the dishwasher. It's one more step away, instead of just piling it in the sink. So it's just little tiny things that make a difference. If you see some food spilled on the counter, the thought registers in your head, oh, there's food spilled on the counter. It needs to be wiped off. But then you walk away. Don't walk away. If you see that it's spilled on the counter, just take 2 seconds, get a paper towel or a sponge or whatever you use and wipe it. Because if you don't do things right in that moment, remember how I've talked before about how we are reactive to the moment in our brains, that we live in the now. But if you don't do it right then, you will forget about it, or it will just become part of the background and you won't notice it. But as you notice it, do it. Do it right then, and it's amazing. Once you start to kind of build those habits, instead of, as you walk in the door, you throw your coat on the chair, just go one more step over to the left and hang it up in the closet or whatever. And then start to kind of make a habit of that. Because what happens is if you just do a little at a time, your house or your office will not turn into this big, giant clutter clearing project. So I hope I explained that well. I don't know. There's a lot more I could say about that. Let's see what you guys are saying. Work on that, being able to do easily. Being positive, having a growth mindset. Yes. Stop and take a breath. When you slow down, you have time to notice that you need to go to the other room. Yeah. She said, last time I decided to unclutter, I burned my dinner. So slow is better. Yeah. Well, we're talking about habits. And so we're talking about things that you would do on a regular basis, not a one-time thing. So I'm trying to think of some more examples. Okay, so dog toys. Dog toys are on the floor. And I think to myself, well, if I don't pick up that dog bone, I'm going to step on it with my bare feet in nighttime, and it's going to hurt my foot. But I'm thinking this as I'm walking past it into the other room. Do you know what I mean? And so if you instead think to yourself, there's a dog bone, it needs to go in the basket where I keep all the dog toys. I have a laundry basket on the floor that I keep the dog toys in. I just pick it up as I'm walking and throw it in there. And it just becomes a habit. As you see things, you just put them away. And you start to find that keeps your house from accumulating all this stuff. So yeah, but don't burn your dinner while you're doing it. Okay, so let's go to the next one. We've talked a lot about procrastination, but this one kind of goes along with what I was saying about do it now. And that's just avoid putting things off. If you can do something in less than 2 minutes, make it a habit of doing it now. Avoid delay. If you can, this sounds so simple, but I promise if you can do this one thing, you're going to see a huge difference in your life, because there's so many little things that we can do, and we just think about them and we think, oh, I could do that, but we don't do it. Hello there. And so if you just get in a habit of doing it now, then you don't even think about it. It just becomes natural. Instead of natural to accumulate clutter, it's natural to clear clutter. Do you want to be on video? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I have my dog here I got this fake background, so you might not be able to see. Let me see if I can. Oh, yeah, you can see her. She got in the video. Okay. That was Layla. She's a ham. So, okay. So I don't really know what else I can say about that, but it's just that the 2-minute rule. If you can do something in less than 2 minutes, just do it, instead of delaying. Even if you don't feel like it, just do it. It's only 2 minutes, right? So 2 minutes is nothing. Okay. Next one is shorten your to-do list. So instead of thinking that you have to do everything, pick every day. I pick the 3 most important things that I really want to get done that day. It's actually, sometimes I just pick one. If it's like a big thing, it's going to take a while. And it's just allowed me to be a lot more realistic about what I can get done. And then I don't feel constantly like I didn't get things done because I don't have so much on my list. I have another list that's kind of like, if I have time, I'll also do some of these things. But the today list, instead of a to-do list, it's a today list, has just 3 or less things on it. And so I make sure I get those done first. Because if you're operating from the big list, guess what you're going to do? You're going to do the easy things, the fun things, the exciting things, not the most important things. And then guess what? You run out of time and you won't have time to do the important things. So just shorten it. Shorten your to-do list. Make a to-do list, but then make a today list that's short. And so that's a habit that you have to build, but it makes a big difference. Banjo, come here. Hold on just a minute. Sorry. Banjo, come here. Stop doing that. Okay, so I have 2 dogs. The other one has got a sore on his foot. I think I've mentioned this before because I don't know why he comes up here. We have one upstairs room, which is where I come because then I'm not interrupted. And this dog comes up here and obsessively licks that sore place. And it's very distracting when you have ADHD. So anyway, but it's also going to make it infected. So I don't want him doing it. So I digress. But you want to have a today list that has 3 or less things on it. So clearing clutter in the moment is often dangerous for me as I might get distracted and spend too much time there. Well, I guess what I'm saying is don't have the clutter to start with. In other words, if you come in the door and you want to lay your coat on the chair, just don't do that. Hang it up instead. Start to build some habits where you don't have to clear clutter. That was the point of that. If you've already got a bunch of clutter, then join my coaching program. I've got a whole 4-part series on how to go through room by room of your house and clear all of your clutter. But what I'm saying is if you just build tiny habits that prevent that clutter from building up, that makes your life a lot easier. So let's see. Trying to find the chat here. There it went. Okay. All right, good. If y'all have questions, put them in the chats because I'm reading that. Another thing that that helps, I think, and that's if you've got enough money to do this, is put your bills on auto pay. That way you don't miss them. You don't have to remember them. And then a lot of places will give you a discount if you put your bills on auto pay. Like we got a cell phone discount because we put our bills on auto pay. But you don't want to get your lights turned off because you forgot to pay the bill, right? So put it on auto pay. Make sure you time it so that you've got the paycheck coming in before the bill comes out, the payment comes out. But that really does help. It's a small, tiny habit, tiny change that could make a big difference. Okay, another one is just this is more of a philosophy than a habit, but make it a habit to say yes to life. Be a participant, not a spectator. Try something new. Stand up for what you believe in, dance like no one's watching, sing karaoke, run a marathon, even if they're picking up the cones and trying to go home and you're still out there running, But my point is, don't not do things, because life is short. And it just is. It goes really fast. And if you have ADHD, sometimes you overthink things and you just let years go by. Don't do that. Reach for your goals. If you need help with your ADHD, talk to me about coaching, and I can help you get on track and not let that be an obstacle. In fact, a lot of people would say it's their superpower. It helps them be successful, not keeps them from it. You just have to learn to work with it. That's the key. But be a participant. Don't just wish that you could do things. Just try new things, make that a habit. And another one is just kind of back to the clutter thing, but pick one new house chore to focus on daily, like just one thing, and try to make it a habit. For instance, if you don't make the bed very often, just focus on that one thing, okay, every day this week, I'm going to make the bed. And then another one might be wash a dish after you use it, or put the dirty clothes in the hamper. One house chore to focus on daily, and try it for a week. And then guess what? It just becomes a habit. It changes. And then you're going to find that things are simpler when you have structure and habits. I know for me, I have to be at school early. I'm a teacher. And so breakfast, I usually just don't have time for breakfast, but I need to eat breakfast. So I try to think of things that I can eat really quickly in the car or at school before the kids get there. And so pick 3 simple breakfasts that you can make super quickly, and then just rotate through them. And make sure each one's got protein to kickstart your brain. I mean, it could be yogurt with granola, or this is probably not very healthy, but I like things in those croissants. I mean, not croissant, crescent rolls. So I'll roll up things like cream cheese and a meat or something, and roll it up and bake it. And then I can grab that and stick it in the microwave and eat it real quickly. But basically, it could be a cheese stick and a bran muffin, or but basically you just need something simple so that you make sure you eat, and then you just rotate through them so you don't get bored with it. And plan that on the weekend. Put stuff in the freezer, and then you've got it, Another habit is each time you write something in your calendar, like an appointment, think about all the tasks that you need to do to prepare for the appointment and write those down too. That will really help you if you can remember to do that. So some of you are like, what calendar? Well, first of all, you need a calendar. And as you get into the habit of writing appointments down, whether it's digital or paper, a lot of ADHD people like paper though, then leave a little space next to it and write down things, like bring paperwork, or, just things that you need to do and remind yourself of with that appointment. So that's really helped me. Sometimes I'll write the address of where I'm supposed to go, and put that on a sticky and put that there, or a list of things I'm supposed to bring or something like that. But that really helps, rather than just putting the appointment and then forgetting about it. Because then it comes time for you to go. You're about to leave the house. And you're like, oh, I forgot. What am I supposed to take? I got to go find that email, So that really helps. Okay. What do you guys think? Let me see. Any questions? Hi, Alice, another coaching member. On rough mornings, I mix a disposable cup of Carnation instant breakfast to drink while I drive. Hey, whatever it takes, you know. Yeah. So, okay, this is something that I have done consistently this year for the first time. I've done it in spurts in the past, but every morning I list 10 things I'm grateful for. And I try to be creative and list different things. But it is amazing how your eyes get opened to different blessings that you wouldn't have normally even recognized, or you just take for granted. And it starts your day instead of thinking of what you don't have, of just thinking what you do have. It's a huge boost to your morning. So I have a planner thing that I write them in every morning, and sometimes they're the same as the day before, but I try to at least put in some new things. And it really does change your mindset. So if you have never kept a gratitude journal or listed things you're grateful for, I would encourage you to try doing that. That will really help. Okay, there's a lot more things I thought of, but I didn't want to overwhelm you. So we're going to stop with that. I might do a part 2 at some point. But I did want to tell you to save the date for May 7 and 8. It's Mother's Day weekend. It's coming up soon. I'm going to do another Chaos to Control challenge on that weekend. It'll be Saturday morning at 10 and Sunday evening at 6 Central. So if you know anybody, if you've been through it before, and you know somebody that you think that would be helpful for, be sure and look for that. I'll be putting the link in the Facebook group eventually. So May 7, 8, just write that on your calendar. So that's all I've got. What else? Do you have any other tips or habits that you found? I know somebody mentioned drink water every day. Drink a glass of water every morning when you first wake up. And little things like that make a huge difference. They really do. So she said she needs to stick duct tape in her purse for tomorrow. You know, duct tape fixes everything. Remember that show MacGyver? He used to fix everything with duct tape. I even saw on the internet a prom dress made out of duct tape. So, yeah, that's a handy thing to have. Anybody else have any new habits that they've started that have really made a difference in their life? There's so many I could list, but and a paper clip. Yep, that's true. All right. Well, if you're watching on the replay, just say replay, watch a replay or something. And then if you have comments or questions, let me know. I go back and watch those. So just keep that thread going and I will respond. But if you think of anything that you think would be a good tip for others, you can share it there. And I don't see any other comments. So I guess we will call it a night. I hope you all have a great week and I will see you next time. Bye.